everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn. I'm Dr. Brooke.
And I'm Dr. Lynn.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah.
We're so excited about the topic.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. We are going to talk about, we have a quiz in Life After Kids in the context of finding out who you are and this phase of life being an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to reimagine who you are. It all starts with really great self-awareness, right? So we have a tool. You can find it on Instagram. You can find it. Can you find it on our website?
Yep, it's on our website.
Okay, I was going to say, you always have the answers on those.
Top right corner, there's a button that says take the quiz.
Take the quiz. And so this is the Life After Kids, What's Your Purpose quiz.
Right.
And we're talking about the results today and what they mean,
right.
Breaking that down for you.
Yes. And I'm very excited about this because we've had so many women take the quiz. And it's great to get that information. And there's a great write-up that explains things, but we thought it would be really fun to do a podcast where we could also give some more information for you.
Yes, because if you took the quiz and you got your results, you're likely not aware of what the other, results are.
Yeah.
I mean, and then where this gets really fun is where we start to see not just our own strengths or our own areas of, talents, but when we can learn about our friends or our spouse or our children even. And so that's the context of today's conversation, is to go through all of the results, the possibilities. There's 4 main areas on this quiz. And so it's definitely more of a broad angle, a broad lens for who you are, but it's a great starting point to help you then to narrow that in. Narrow down from there whether you want to find a new purpose, or you're maybe thinking about changing jobs, or want to start a business, or want to partner with your best friend, or whatever. You got to know this stuff going in, because if you don't, you're going in blind.
Right. And you still have a lot of success, but you might not be as happy as you could be. I think that's the thing. If you have some sort of starting point like this where you can really get to know where your strengths are and where you shine, it's very helpful, because then you can sort of laser focus in on the things that are going to really, not only you're going to be really good at, but also going to bring you joy. And you might not have to work, not that you're not going to put in the work, but you might not have to work as hard at overcoming weaknesses for it. Right.
Yeah. I think, most of the time we end up where we're just exactly where we're meant to be.
100%.
Right. And if you didn't have this information, could you still get there? Will you still get there? Absolutely. But if you had this information, how would that change that trajectory? And could you possibly avoid some pitfalls? Could you possibly save some relationships? Think about all the partners, look, all the people listening to us and thinking about how maybe you don't think this, but if you'd ever had the thought that, wow, Dr. Brooke and Lynn work pretty nicely together. It's
you don't know what happens behind the scenes. No, sorry.
Just a moment there. But no, but it came from having this information before we went into it. So we went in eyes wide open, because clearly we prioritized the friendship first.
Yes.
But then we knew the statistical chances of this working are a little bit better when you know how you're partnering. And we're going to talk about that. Actually, we're going to have a whole podcast episode dedicated to collaborating and partnerships.
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun. And maybe we'll get into some of our, struggles and bumps that we've had along the way, just so we can share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share that with you guys.
But,
back to the quiz.
Right. And not only, you said, save relationships, right? You were going down that path of, you could still get there, but what are you going to save? I think you could also save a lot of energy, and you're probably going to save yourself time.
So good.
Right.
And those are 2 of our limited resources, right?
Right. Exactly.
Money, time. We can get more, of a lot of things, but we can't get more time. It's limited.
Right.
Right. And energy is limited as well.
Yeah. And so, like you said, I think you could still get to where you want to go. We usually end up where we should be, but if you can get there in a more productive and more timely manner, that's always a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. When you can go around some of the scar tissue and just get into the helping people and contributing back and feeling meaningful.
Yeah.
Gets right to that part. Okay.
Agreed.
So with the quiz, when you go there and, you just have to pop in your email address and you'll answer these questions. The advice on this quiz is just, don't overthink it. I think always when you take a quiz like this, there's the answer that you know to be true, and then there's the answer that your image of who you would like to be,
that you want to
that
be true.
you want to be true. So really just try to stick to that, what do friends, family members, what does my experience, speak to, what does my past speak to? Overarchingly, like, go with that, like, what is really authentic for you, wherever possible. And that's going to obviously help get you the most reliable result. And there's obviously an element of, you are the expert on you. So no quiz, no assessment, no matter how specific it is, no matter how many you do, is going to be able to tell you more about you than you can. Right.
Oh, that's so good.
These are just tools that help you to fill in the blanks a little bit, or to get started on a discussion where it kind of gives you questions you didn't even know to ask before.
I love it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so
That's
the
great.
first area of the quiz, it's my home. It's where I hang out. This is who I am. Actually, no, it's not. This is not me.
You got us all excited. You were like giving a whole feed into this. You're even like,
this is who I function as, but it's actually not who my authentic self is. So there's those questions too. We'll get to that at the end. We'll maybe save some time on that. But
yeah, great. Okay.
They are the diligent doers. All right. So these are our people that get stuff done.
You saved yourself. Yeah.
As Darren Hardy would say, get shiitake done.
There you
go. So yeah, they're gonna, they're the people that can follow through. They take a goal to completion very easily. We know these people. These are the people that, you tell them you'd like to do a girls trip, and then pretty soon they're texting you the 4 different places that we should go, and then the budget and all of that, and then you've got the link to book the hotel. Like they're the people that can take an idea and get it done. Really, they're not always, interestingly enough, they're not always the idea people, and very often they're not.
Yes.
They're just the people that can come in, pull something down to the ground, or help pull it down to the ground, and then follow it across the line.
Yeah.
In breaking up a project on all of the action steps. And
I was going to say,
they take good pride. Yeah. They take a lot of pride in checking things off as they go. Completion is the name of the game for them.
Yeah. I feel like I live in this space a lot. I don't know if that's me at the heart, but I really,
you have a lot of strengths. So just so you know, my work is this quiz is heavily influenced, obviously, by the domains that come from the Strength Finders quiz. I've done that coaching. Mm-hmm. I'm certified Gallup coach, and I've been doing this work for years now. It's definitely, this is in the lens of life after kids, but it's definitely influenced by that. But so going through your strengths profile, you have some executing talents in your very high, and you lean on those, and you, I think, have a lot of good self-awareness about those executing talents, and you use them, to your benefit. For one, belief is one of yours.
Yeah.
Right. So when Dr. Brooke believes in something, with like this project, this community, right?
Yeah.
You're very motivated when it aligns with your
belief
system.
System. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think you can get, at least it seems to me like you can also have to be self-aware here, because you can really get ingrained in your to-do list and checking your box.
Yeah.
I
do you think like that became more of an issue for you after you found this out about yourself?
I think that I've always had a problem with like if I have a to-do list, or I have something for the day or the week that I want to get done, like I can't let it go, even to my detriment. Even if it means like I'm super, super stressed, and it didn't necessarily have to be done, but if I just had it on my list, or it needed to be done.
Yeah.
Like
that's an excellent.
My husband has pointed that out to me before. Like you don't have to get, like it's okay.
Yeah.
You can get handcuffed to that.
Yeah.
And then that can create a stress.
Yeah. I mean, on the one side, obviously it allows you to get a lot done. Right. So we love these people, partner with these people. I would suggest it. No, because, there's a lot of productivity that comes from that.
Yeah.
But it's learning to balance, deadlines. And sometimes you just have to maybe put timelines on things instead of just adding to your to-do list. So there's a lot of different organizing and space, scheduling tools you can use. So if you have something that maybe doesn't need to get done right now,
Yeah.
and it actually
I've gotten
should
good
get
at
done
that.
next weekend, actually put like the date that you want the deadline done. And as long as you get it done in that deadline, typically
Yes.
you're going to be.
And you're really good
rested.
at that because we could be on a call where I'm like, we were just on one recently for work. And I forget what we were talking about working on, maybe the goals framework or something. And you were like, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I've got all this stuff because we're moving, we're listing the house, and I've got to get this done and I got to do this. And you're like, well, we can get to this, but it can't be till after, like, it can't be till the second week of whatever it was. I was like,
Yep.
huh. That's a really nice way to look at that. Like, it doesn't have to be done right this minute or even right this week. We can give ourselves a 2 or 3 week
Yep.
deadline and it's okay.
That's good self-awareness. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good for me to hear too, as your
but
partner.
you do have to have that
Yep.
self-awareness, I think, in
Yep.
anything. It's not just for these diligent doers, anyone. If you need to be aware of where you lie, because it can be, the strengths are a good thing, but also like
Yes, they are our
it,
power
they,
and our edge, but also they can be creating blind spots for us
right.
when
That's
they're
what I was
not,
trying to get at.
when they're in control of us instead of us being in control of them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where it's like, these are hardwired talents and these are keys to who we are as people. And these are just the broader categories of those. These aren't going specific, but just so you know, in that other assessment that we work with clients on and have taken people through, you get far more granular and more specific. In this case, I don't think you need that. I think you just need to like focus on just that overarching theme, so to speak, of how you contribute to get you going, because we're talking about it in the context of a mom who is needing that self-awareness and maybe pivoting out of full-time mothering and
Yep.
into wanting to look where they should devote their energies and their time,
Right.
into what other type of vocation, work, purpose, whatever you'd call it.
So do you have a suggestion? And maybe this is just is too easy of a question because there's just too much depth to this topic, but like somebody who came out as a diligent doer, where would be a good place for them to start if they're looking for what's next? Do you have an example of something that would?
Yes. So in the quiz, when you read your results, it'll give you some suggestions. It really, like what you said earlier, it really kind of explains the place you live.
Yep.
And then we throw out some, stereotypical examples and some creative examples for each of these.
Right.
So that's a place to start. I think it's a place of knowing who you are. And then in light of that, knowing which lanes are going to be of most ease for you, right? So things that we do best in the way that we're wired are the things that come easiest to us.
Right.
So at this stage in our life, we don't want hard, we don't want complicated. We want authenticity, alignment, we want ease, right? Like we know those are the things that make it feel right.
Right.
And so I think starting with this knowledge helps you to really qualify if you're going to be placing yourself in the right lane.
Yep. Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Next, magnificent motivators. All right.
Are you trying to read me?
No, because I know your result, but trying to think if there's anybody I know who's really great at these. These would be the more rare of the categories, but these people are fun. So these are our writers, our speakers. These are usually our very extroverted. This is Braveheart. So that would be a good example,
Wow.
it's the people who, it's Aaron Brockovich. And those are obviously big, real life examples of people who motivate, but it doesn't have to be that on an everyday scale. It can be somebody who can just get people to sign up for the PTA or, to volunteer, or basically
these people would be good at sales, I imagine. Influencing.
They're
type.
influencers.
Right.
Yeah. They help to get people on the bus. They don't drive the bus. And they may not know where the bus is going. but they'll get people on the bus, right? So these guys are usually really great communicators. So they are people who are going to be passionate and can convey that sense of ideas, and what needs to get done in order for us to move forward, right? So yeah, you mentioned sales, writers, like, I guess when I looked at you with that, I mean, you have some influencing talents. Again, these are broader themes, and each of us has little pieces of each one of these, right?
Sure.
But we're going to lead predominantly from one, typically. So we all share some of the qualities of this, but if you are one of these people, if you've been told you're a great speaker, if you're a good writer and you took the quiz and this was your result, you want to make sure that you find outlets for it.
Yeah.
That's what's so important. I mean, if you are home and you're talking to your family and that's great, but you're going to need to find a stage. You're going to need to find a platform. You're going to need to write. You're going to need to record, whatever it might be for you to get your ideas across, and partner with somebody as well, because these guys make great partners, but they also need some of the talents from the other areas to kind of, again, move across the finish line.
Yeah. I think that's important, and it'll be fun. I don't know if we mentioned in this podcast or another one where we're going to talk about collaborating, because you can't be good at all things, right? So if you're trying to do something big, or you're doing something on your own, you might need to collaborate with other people because you might not be able to fill in all the gaps.
Yeah.
And this is where something like this is important to know.
Always. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, and too, at this age and that I'm at, I don't want to do it by myself. I
Yeah.
don't need the significance from an accomplishment, as much as I want to work with people that I like on
Yeah.
things that I love and feel good about doing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a really good point too.
Yeah.
But I like that you bring that up, like knowing that, like making sure that if this is you, if you took that quiz, and as you talk through some of the other ones, we can touch on it more. But I think an overarching thing here is, if you've taken our quiz, if not, you definitely have to. But if you've already taken it and you're like, well, what do I do with this? It's important, to your point, like, if you are one of these influencers or the magnificent motivator, make sure you're finding space in your life for something like that, because the worst thing is, and I think the easiest recipe for being a little unhappy or unmotivated or just a little blah, is having a talent or strength that is inside you and not doing something that allows it to come out.
Amen, sister.
So this is the thing. This is where this is big. Maybe this is not going to piece down for you specifically what you should be doing or an area in which direction you should go, but at a minimum, if you know that you're a diligent doer, you're not the person that should just be hanging out on the weekend. Like, you're not the one that's going to respond to our posts when we're talking about purpose saying, "Oh, we should just be having fun by now. We want to relax." Like, you need to have you need to be getting stuff done.
Love it. Right. And can we just stop for a moment and just think about the power of knowing that about yourself? So years ago, and you know this story, but we would go on vacation. We had businesses or business owners, my husband and I, would go on vacation. And what are you supposed to do on vacation? You're supposed to
Have fun,
sit on the
relax.
beach and, hold a drink with an umbrella and just stare at the ocean. Well, guess what? Both of us, we have a lot of executing talents, and that was not working for us. But instead of us going, oh, well, we're diligent. My husband's for sure diligent doer. Like I said, I'm actually more of an awesome analyzer, but I have all these executing talents.
Yeah.
Instead of us saying, oh, we're these people, we said, oh, there's something wrong with us.
Right.
Right.
Do that to ourselves.
There's something wrong with us. So then we would force ourselves in that direction. And that's where the whole work hard, play hard things comes from, because you can't have moderation when you don't really understand what's at play.
Yeah.
So it goes from, okay, well, we're going to work as hard at playing as we are at working, right? No, the better avenue, the healthier avenue, is to see yourself as somebody who needs to channel that. And our solution for that was, when we're on vacation, we have a shorter list. So we always do a small workout. We'll check emails. We'll do a few things that makes us feel like just enough on a vacation. We have a standard for vacation, right? It's not the same as our day, because that does need to be kept in check. And you do need to rest and take a break, shift back. But once we get those things done, then we let go of that guilt, and we let go of that nagging, voice that's like, oh, you should be doing something. And it actually makes our rest time so much more effective.
Yeah, because you know that about yourself and you know how to work around it and bring out the best in you in the midst of it, which is so important. That's so good. And something that just came to mind to go back to the magnificent motivators. I imagine that these people would make really, really good fundraisers for nonprofits.
Yes. Yeah. They need to partner with the doers, the people that can get it done, but they are going to get the money raised.
That would be a great place
they
to
are
put
going
your
to exactly.
Yep.
That's
great.
fantastic. Find that charity, that cause that you're passionate
That could
about,
be
and
something
oh
to
my
think.
gosh, like we need you. We need the
Yes.
world needs you. That cause needs you. Think about how much good you could do.
Yeah, especially when you mentioned that these people are more few and far between than some of the others.
They are, and so they don't often. When you are that case, you do tend to feel like a little bit more of a standout, and that self-awareness becomes even more important because of that, because you may not look around and see other people like you. So you might question yourself. Don't question yourself. Just go confidently in that direction. So, and learn more about yourself.
I love it.
Okay, next. The world goes round with our remarkable relators. These, and I have a suspicion many people in our audience listening will get this result. And not because it's stereotypically like a thing, but it's because this is the most common area. It is in America. Yeah. We all know these people. They are great friends. They're great coaches, great teachers. They just bring an ease into any type of environment or conversation. These are the people that you just end up telling stuff to, and you don't even realize it. And pretty soon you've, told your whole life story. They just, if you're a remarkable relator, people gravitate to you. You probably have a lot of friends, or maybe you have a few very, very close friends, but a lot of people around you would actually call you a friend. That happens very often. And you don't maybe realize the impact you have on other people just because people are attracted to you. You prioritize that human side of life. So it's all about like goals should be filtered through the relationship. Like, how can we further people? How can we further the relationships? And again, I love that self-awareness, because for a remarkable relator, like lose 5 pounds by this time, that's not going to maybe resonate as much as it would for, say, a diligent doer that just wants to cross something off and meet a goal and just go headlong. How about reframing your goals like this? Commit to showing up 3 times a week at the gym because I'm working out with X person, and we're going to catch up on, we're going to have a conversation and we're going to do a workout together.
So these people are going to be really great with accountability partners.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so you can still accomplish goals, but you do it through the lens of how does this further your relationships?
Right. So, and you are probably going to be the person, if you're finding yourself with more time now or wondering what to do because your kids are older, you're going to probably be very well served in things like joining book clubs or walking clubs or running or a gym where you can interact and meet people and talk with people. Right?
Yeah. So good.
You need that communication. And I remember you saying to me, because I have a lot of high relating talents. And I remember, just to kind of put this into a little bit of perspective, when I was stepping out of practice with patients and going more to an online space, and I remember you saying, like, you need to have some outlet, like you need to be in contact with people and you need to be talking because that's part of your strength. So if you lose all of that, even though you love what you're doing, you might feel a little unease.
Yep.
So that's where, again, the self-awareness is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll go back to that piece where, again, it's, because often when we're caregivers, we're remarkable relators, just combining those two just for a second, because that combination tends to show up pretty frequently. You can just tend to put other people's needs and then not really see yourself or think of yourself as a person who can meet or exceed a goal, right? Because that just, you're so much more about the human side and people, and we love you for that, right? Everybody wants to be around you for that, and you're the best kinds of moms. And, there's all types of moms, but you're obviously, you're typically really good at that job. But start to see yourself as, you do those things. You just have to filter it. Like I said a few moments ago, you just have to put it through the lens of the relationship. So I'll give you a really quick example. So my daughter, when she was really young, we had her take an early teen version of the strengths finders, and she found out she was a relator. And she's a competitive dancer, and as parents, we're paying all this money for her to go to competitions, and we would kind of watch and see that, hey, she wasn't really spending a lot of time outside of the studio practicing at home, even though we'd set it up for her to be able to do that. And so in our mind, right, we're like, well, what's going on? And we're wired for those goals and goal achieving. Yeah. And she got that result, and the light bulb hit. So she's an only child, and she was going to the studio. These girls, the studio was made up, this team of all these girls that were older for her, that were mentors, and then all these younger that she would reach down and got a lot of sense of pride in helping out, right? This was a family. This was a relationship network for her. This is why she was so driven. It wasn't the competition, right?
It's now, because she wants the relationship.
Yes. So now we could have just stopped there. We could have said, oh, okay, she's getting a lot of fun. She's getting a lot of life skills, which she was, by the way, right? Sure. So knowing what we knew, we went one step further. And what we said was, oh, you know what? We know that Eleanor is, hey, Eleanor, if you're listening, Lila there's an older girl who she just loved. We know that you just love Eleanor, and you just, a big dream of yours, right? We were asking her, would that be to dance with her? Yes. Oh, well, what would you need to do this year? Because she was 3 years younger. What would you need to do at home? How would you need to practice? What would you need to hit in order to be able to dance with Eleanor?
That's really good.
And guess what? She did with Eleanor next year, and there was a huge jump. Yeah.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
You turned it around from just having a goal or what she needed to do to relating with someone.
Exactly. We made it, again, alignment and what was driving her. Yeah. It was through that relationship, through that lens of the relationship.
So good.
Yeah. So that's just an example. I mean, that's an example
of your
children, not necessarily for us, but just thinking about that. Yeah. Because our relators, I just wonder, how many of you at this phase, have dreams and things that you want to realize, but maybe haven't seen yourself as that person who can get there by themselves. You 100% can. You just need to filter it.
I love that. That's very good advice.
Okay. And then last but not least, the awesome analyzers.
And you called them awesome because you're one.
Awesome. These are our visionaries, our thinkers, right? Our teachers, our professors. They are our managers in often cases. We just need opportunities. I say we, because that's me. Need opportunities to stretch our brains in new directions. They love learning. They love challenging our brain. They love deep conversations. Hello, and
yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do. And those are some of the ways that separate us. Typically, they need time to think, but they can, when they're given that time, then they can see the strategy and lay out the plan and help us to build the map for the diligent doers to then start on the steps to get there, right? And then we need the motivators, the magnificent motivators, to help rally the troops around the ideas and the map. And then the remarkable relators are because our currency is relationships and how we get anything done on our teams. And I'm talking more from maybe like a workplace space with that, but think about how that could work in our lives and our relationships, our friendships and our homes, all of that.
Sure. And I think, and this shows up for you and I, like big time in our work, just to give a concrete example, because I'm always like just wanting to jump into the action, and I got this list of things. This all has to happen for us to get there, and I'm just going to jump in and do it. And you are so good at taking a step back and hold on. how we need to figure out how to do it. We can't just jump in. We got to make sure it's right. We got to think this through. We got to learn about it. And you're also very good at creating, like, you're basically tell me what to do. You figure out what needs to be done. You tell me to do it, and I go put everything into place.
Well, I would not say it that way.
It's not that simple.
That you get us moving, and then it is usually in a really great direction, and then I go, well, hold on, wait now, I can't see the end point, and so that's where I just pull us back a little bit and say, okay, well, what is this? Which direction are we going in? And something that's funny, and I'm sure you just have to chuckle at it, because like I can put the simplest thing in a drawing, and as soon as I do, it's like, well, yeah, that's the plan. But for me, it like no matter what we're doing, it has to be like in a picture that I can clearly see here. So sometimes that starts with drawing, just writing it out, just mapping it out, putting out the blueprint basically for the design of where we're headed.
Yeah. And that's actually, in joking aside, for somebody who is an analytic, if you are thinking about what's next for you, a really good place for you to start is you might need to sit down with a little bit of a roadmap and more of a schematic or a vision board for you. You might need that, right? To go through your analytical process, as opposed to just jumping in with your action steps and getting started.
Well, I think that what happens is it tends to be all strategy in some cases and not enough doing. So
that's why we balance each other out. That's what I was getting to. And just
so that's why we say, I don't see it that way. I see that you get us moving. Otherwise we would be at the starting line, trying to map things out. So there's something to be said for getting moving first, and then course correcting, based on the overall picture. And that's where partnerships are just so cool. And like we said earlier, we're going to get to just that topic, and we hope
I'm excited about that,
because start to think about that. I think we mentioned that in the results part of that quiz. And again, if you haven't taken it, share that with people that you love, and love, because this is where you want your friends right to take it. So you've taken it now, and this is where it gets really cool, because you've learned a little bit now about each place, and then you guys can have fun discussions. And then you're going to start to think about, well, who in my life could I partner with? Like, some of these actions and these dreams that we're thinking about taking, they're pretty scary, and they involve a certain amount of risk and capital, time, energy, and money, right? And how can you share that? Who in your life would be a good person to collaborate with, or start to think about in terms of just being a good sounding board or for you?
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, definitely, ladies. Check out the quiz if you haven't already. And like Dr. Lynn said, if you have, share your results, right? You can find the quiz once again on our website, www.lifeafterkids.com. You can also find it in our profile if you follow us on TikTok, on Instagram. Very easy to find there too. And if you've taken the quiz, don't hesitate to reach out with a DM to us and let us know what you are, if you have any questions about it.
I would love that. Personally.
Yeah, it would be great. And we should hop into we have a private Facebook group. So if you haven't joined that, think about joining that too. It's
that's a great idea.
It's Life After Kids. And maybe we should hop in there too one day and do a live and just let people ask questions around the quiz, or what the results were.
Yeah.
Take it a step further.
Like I said, it's a broad tool. It doesn't explain everything. It's a start. But once again, it gets you asking and thinking about some questions maybe you've never asked yourself before. So any good tool will do that.
Absolutely. It's a good starting point. So and now we're at our ending point. So thank you so much for listening, ladies. That was a really cheesy segue. Wrap it up. Definitely, like I said, make sure you're following us on all of our social media feeds, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're also on YouTube, where you can watch this if you'd like, as opposed to listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want to find us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those of you who've taken the quiz. If you haven't taken the quiz, make sure you take it and just knock it out of the park this week.
Yeah. Hugs to you. Go make it a great, amazing week.
Take care.